Thanks for coming in the room. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Good evening. So it's Myles-Jenkins. I'm a spirit-led life coach, and I'm here today. Going to be talking about the 10 characteristics. Okay, the 10 characteristics of how. Hold on. What does this say? Sorry, I'm just doing something on. Hey, Mia, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in the room. Appreciate you. All right, okay. Yes, thanks for coming in the room, Chiquita. All right, so my name is Myles-Jenkins, and I'm going to be talking about this subject matter. Like I told you yesterday, yeah, I'm on a mission to be scoping every day. Or live streaming, should I say, every day. So this is what I'm doing, and as you can see, I'm fumbling around with this technology. I'm not used to be doing it like this, but anyhow. So I'm really excited. So I hope you're getting value from these scopes. This isn't, I'm not trying to brand myself after this subject, but it's something that I know quite dearly, and it's actually something that I'm writing about. Thanks, Shirley, for coming up in the room. And so I just want to share based upon my experience. I know it's going to help a lot of people. Thank you. Thank you, Mia. I appreciate that. I know a lot of people is going to be blessed. This is something that we really don't really talk about. And when people talk about it, as I found today, somebody in my newsfeed was talking about how they were part of a cult, and they really was just doing a rant. And I can understand why, because I used to be on a rant, okay? But now I'm using this public forum. I'm at a place where I'm healed. Hey! Hallelujah. Yes, I'm at a place where I'm healed. So I'm not on a rant, yeah? I'm just out to make an impact, and that's it. I'm just out to validate your feelings and to say, okay, this is what it is. It needs to be exposed, and this is what you can do going forward. And this is how you know the signs, so that a relative of yours, they can't get, so that they don't get caught up in it too, right? So it's more of awareness, and for your education, and for those who have been through the experience, so that they can, get over this hump and then take a leap of faith and then move on, so that they're not stuck, right? You don't want to get stuck in that rut. I've been there, like I said, and so it is not fun. And if it wasn't for people actually reaching back and pulling me out of that dark place, that dark pit, I'll still be there today, and I would not be able to move on into my calling. So I'm really here to just really help multiple many people that's gone through different various situations that are very similar at the same time too as well, right? So I'm going to go through these 10 characteristics, okay? So we're going to start with the first one, right? So when you come in contact with a church group that's very abusive, one of the first things that you're going to see as a sign is the leadership, yeah? It's how they communicate, it's how they relate to their people, and the message that they're conveying. So a lot of the times, the message that's been conveyed is that they are the be-all and end-all. So they're the authority, which they are. Okay, they are definitely an authority. They're God's authority. Thanks for coming in the room, Angel. But the difference is that they take it to the extreme, okay? So they become the voice, the only voice that can speak into your life. They become the voice that tells you whether or not you can go on vacation or not, all right? I know, it's a little surprising, but it does happen. I've seen it myself, right? Okay, they then also become the voice of whether or not you're allowed to sleep with your partner or not. Okay, I know, very TMI, but at the same time, very real. It happens, okay? All right, so they also become the voice of whether or not you should be, how you should actually discipline your children, okay? All right, okay, yeah, these are all behind the scenes personal situations, right? But they also no problem, cousin. Okay, no problem. Good. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Okay, but these are all areas that they actually overstep their boundaries, right? So this is they can do general guidance and counsel, but to actually be telling you what to do and how to do it and expect you to follow their advice and hold you to it using intimidation, manipulation, and fear. Okay, now that's not on, right? Okay, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, right, there's liberty. There's supposed to be freedom, right? So why is it in the house of God there's no freedom? So that's one of the first things you're going to sense is that there's a tightness. People are very uptight. There's no freedom. There's no love in that space. Thanks for the hearts. I see Facebook going wild over here. Thank you. Right? And so generally speaking, they're the authority. Okay. And so, what you'll see is in how they communicate, they tend to communicate with an edge, and that edge is fear. That edge is also what do I want to say? Judgment. All right. There's always a lot of fear and a lot of judgment, and so how you actually behave is actually out of a motive of I don't want to get in trouble. If I do this, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to be out of order, and I'm going to be scolded in public. Then pastor's going to preach about me on Sunday, and then how else am I going to look? So every motive of your heart is now switched. It ain't even about pleasing the Lord no more, because you're so focused on pleasing man, right? God ain't even in the picture. You came in trying to serve God, right? You came in with a pure heart, right? But because of the culture, that's actually changed your viewpoint and your perspective. And now all your focus is your energy. When I say, my God, I know what the energy it takes, yeah, to keep up, not with the Joneses, but to keep up with the prisoners in the camp, to keep up, because the prison guards is on you, right? That's leadership, yeah? The prison guards are on you, right? The armor bearers is on you. And if you're stepping out of line, my God, I used to get called up bare times in the room, right? In the room, the pastor's room. I used to get called up. And I'll tell you this too. I used to get bad people in trouble that they get caught up in the room. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you can understand that I don't come from a place of judging, because I've been there. Because when you're a part of that culture, you're not only being a victim, but you've been taught, right? This is something, if you stay in that culture long enough, you'll actually be taught to actually operate in the same manner, right? And so I've been on both sides. That's why I tell you guys I've been on both sides. I know what it's like. And then even in operating on both sides, I was still a victim. Even when I was making people behave that way and I was reinforcing and forcing the leadership's rules, yeah, I was still a victim in even that. Because if I didn't do it, what would have happened, right? I would have been excommunicated. Who wants to be excommunicated? Like, really? Do you know what it feels like to be excommunicated? All your friends and family are part of this group, and then you're just out on the limb on your own? Nah, not doing it. Sorry, not doing it. It's far easier for me to just go with the flow, right? Just go with it. And so that's what I did. And so that's what a lot of people do. All right. So the next thing is two, which is okay, is putting the pastor on the pedestal. All right. So in order for this to go down, in order for the system to be there, right, he has to be on a pedestal, right? So he's going to be above everybody. Like I said, he generally is like the mouth of God speaking. You know, who is God anyway? He's nobody. You know, we don't care about God. But we care about him, right? So he's generally put on the pedestal, and he's highly esteemed. And he's also the person that you'd also cover. So if you invite a friend to your church, yeah, hey, Rama, hey, thanks for stopping by. So, oh yeah, guys, don't forget, I always forget to ask people to share and follow me and all that sort of stuff. So if you're able to, and if this is resonating with you, why not? Okay. All right. So yeah, he's up on the pedestal, and, well respected, and nothing can go wrong. So can you imagine you bring someone to the church, right? You bring a visitor and they kind of realize, oh, something's iffy here. I'm not in agreement with what this is going on. And they might even get revelation, oh, something's going on here, yeah? And you know it too, right? But because you haven't even admitted to yourself, you're not even gonna come into agreement. So what's the first thing you're doing? You're covering up. You're covering up. And so that's one of the things, is that they're so highly esteemed that they can never do anything wrong. Nothing wrong, right? You invest all your time and energy, not just upholding the system, but making sure that leader stays in place. And it means that you're going to have to cover that sin. You're going to have to cover it, pretend it doesn't exist. Meanwhile, you kind of know on a level somewhere, depending on how long you've been in that situation. But there is a place where it's almost like you don't even know that they're wrong. And that's when there's a heavy brainwashing going on, right? So there's different stages to this game, right? Okay, so that's the second one, that they're highly esteemed. There's the third one, is that there's this thing about being exclusive, yeah? If you ever see these type of churches, right? It's always my church, our church, we're the church, the only church, yeah? It's like they're so puffed up in pride, they can't even see it. They're saying like Lucifer himself, right? Like our church is the biggest church. Like God, God don't want to come to our church because our church is the baddest church around. Like really? Like I thought we was building a church so that God can live there. Isn't that where he lived? No. It's all about them and it's about their agenda, yeah? So there's this exclusivity, which, see, this is the thing. People always wonder, like, why do people get caught up in these churches? One of the reasons why is because people are looking for something, yeah? They're tired of what they got. They're looking for something new. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because, there's old wineskins and we're looking for the new, right? We're looking for the bigger, the better, the more improved. That's society, right? It makes sense to upgrade your level, right? So for a lot of times, you're there studying, trying to upgrade your level. Yeah, preach, Charles, right? Yes, Shirley, right? Yeah, we're trying to upgrade our level. So in the upgrading of our level, you fall into a trap. Okay? So that's how they get you. Thanks, Steve, for coming in the room. So that's how they get you, because you're looking for something new. And if you're a prophetic person, hey, sweetie, hey, D, if you're a prophetic person, you're always looking after the Spirit of God. You're looking for a move. That's the kind of individual you are. You're looking for it, yeah? You're looking for something deep, yeah? But looking for that something deep can also get you in a trap, so you got to be well aware. And to safeguard you, if you're a prophetic person, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the effects and what you need to do to safeguard yourself. But one of the things to safeguard yourself as a prophetic person is to make sure you know the word. I mean, it's that simple. It ain't even deep. And I always joke to myself, say, Mercy, you don't know enough of the word. Because yet again, somebody just took you for a fool, right? And so that's why you got to stay in that word. That's why you got to stay abreast. You got to read it from front to back and in the middle, right? Just to make sure you get a good, balanced, even keel of the matters, right? Okay. So that was number 3 about the whole thing about we're exclusive with exclusive church. And with that whole thing of exclusivity, right, if you really see it, it's like they're competing against God and they're competing against the church, right? Like God didn't say that there's only one body and that he was coming for a one body church, right? He said there's different parts of the church and one day that he wishes that all parts will come together. Like they didn't get that part. Okay, so the exclusivity is a thing that's going to drive you and draw you there, because one, you're prophetic still, and you're looking for something that's cutting edge, you're looking for something that's different, you're looking for something that's radical, but it's the very thing that could be a trap. So you got to really be aware and really discern on the doctrine. That's how you can really tell the spirit of that place and the doctrine of that place. Because remember, they said that the Bible says in Revelations that the spirit of prophecy reveals Jesus is Jesus, okay? All right, so that should be a sign. And so we're going to go on to number 4. Number 4 is the members are under scrutiny and they have to follow the leader's routine and they're held to a higher standard, yeah? And so this standard is a standard that wear you out, right? Wear you out. Talking about morning prayer. We used to do morning prayer at 5 a.m., right? And I used to be like, really? Like, we really got to do this? 5 a.m. prayer, yeah? 2-2s, the leader ain't even doing no 5 a.m. prayer. Like, how we got to do it, yeah? Lose sleep. Don't get proper nutrition because you're going to bed late, right? And then you're waking up really early. But they come out like looking fresh for the day. And you're like, what's that about? Okay? So they're living according to one standard, but they're enforcing a standard on you. And the reason why they do that, one, is to burn you out. Because when you get to a place where you're tired physiologically, right? So it affects you many ways. Mentally, psychologically, emotionally, nutritionally, and physiological, right? These are all the different ways that it can affect a man, it can affect a woman. Hi, is that G? Thanks for coming in the room. So these are the ways that it can affect you. Oh, sleep deprivation too. So if you're sleep deprived, not getting enough nutrition, yeah? This is how they're able to take over your brain. This is how they're able to wash your brain, yeah, with a new program, downloaded it and everything. Before you even know it, you're a new person. I'm laughing, but it's not even funny, right? Okay, but I mean, like, it really is like that, yeah? That's why you can't feel guilty. That's why you can't say, man, I don't know how I was a fool. Mrs. Sheila, thanks for coming in the room. That's why you can't tell yourself you're a fool. That's why you can't say that. Because it's systematic control. Yeah, it's systematic manipulation. It's systematic intimidation. These things, it's like a network. Yeah, it's like a web, right? It's not an isolated case. It's not an isolated incident. If it was, right, you'd be able to shake it off easy. But because it's so strategic and it pulls on the stuff that's in your heart, yeah, that's how you get stuck in that web, because there's unresolved issues. Now, one thing about cult that I must tell you, if you don't remember anything, yeah, this is the most important part. If I'm telling you don't remember anything, remember this, yeah? Once you've been involved in a church abusive group or a cult, whatever you want to call it, yeah? I'm just telling you the characteristics. It can fit in a church. It can fit in a straight out cult, yeah? Right. Once you've been in one, I'm telling you, this... Right, once you've been in one, let me just spit it out. Once you've been in one, yeah, you're more than likely to go back again. Okay, I know, like, who wants to go back in that situation? But I'm just telling you, yeah, statistics says once you've been in it one time, you're more than likely to go back in it again. Right? Drop the mic. Okay? Now, seriously, once you've been in it one time, yeah, I know you escaped, you got free, you got delivered and everything, but I'm still telling you, as a warning, because it's familiar territory, right? And because there was something in you that pulled you into that situation, right? So you have to get strong. You have to get strong. You have to get strong, and you have to build up yourself, and you have to find out what was those things that was like a weakness that they were able to put the wool over your eyes. You have to find out what that is. You have to do a lot of homework, yeah? Like I told you, I was out in the wilderness for 6 years, right? And I was really trying to figure this thing out for real, yeah? And so that's what you got to find out. What was the strings? What are your personal issues? Is it abandonment issues? Is it rejection issues? Is it that you're seeking self-affirmation? You need validation? What is it? What is it? What is that thing? A lot of these things stem from childhood. Now, the pastor is supposed to be someone who's a good shepherd. The Lord is a good shepherd, right? He's a good shepherd. He's supposed to take care of his sheep, yeah? They say that sheep is dumb, right? Right? Inexperienced. They need nurturing. They need to be told what to do, okay? They need a leader, right? Okay. So, as a shepherd, you can see that they're also like a fathering, yeah? So what was your relationship like with your father? Did you even have a relationship with your father? Because they say self-esteem and affirmation actually is built by the father, yeah? Your own biological father, right? And if he wasn't there, did you have a replacement? And if you did, was it a healthy situation, right? So I'm just giving you pointers to really think about and stimulate your thinking and reflection, okay? So these are things that will actually draw you back into that situation, right? Okay, familiarity. Okay. So the fifth thing is that they have a lot of rules on legalism. You can't do this, you can't do that, can't wear. I don't want to knock no one's church or anyone's doctrine or anyone's denomination, right? But some of these cults ain't even part of a denomination. They're just freely independent, yeah? There's nothing wrong with being freely independent, but I'm just saying still, right? Charles said they're not gonna lie me after this one. Charles, you're right. You're right. Knock it. Yeah. Listen, I got to say like it is, isn't it? It's time, babe. It's time. Don't you know it's time? Okay. All right. So yeah. So there's a lot of rules and regulations. Legalism that's going on. You can't do this, you can't do that. If you do this, you gotta go through it. Truth is truth, right? So the truth is gonna stand, yeah? So if you wanna do something, you gotta go to the head honcho. Head honcho's gotta let you know whether or not it can be done or it should be done, or they're gonna pray on it, or they got themselves. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've actually come into contact with a cult And when they introduced me to their leader, his name was Amen. So that was God himself. So yeah, so if you're in trouble in that place, you mean God himself for real, because that's what they call him, Amen. And let me, I'm just gonna go off a little bit, yeah, just in relation to that group. I was like, you know what, this is an old man, he's like in his 80s or something. Witchcraft, for real, it is witchcraft, right? I want to laugh so bad. Okay, get it together. So I was like, Lord, this man's like 85 or something, right? And we done checked him out on the internet, found out that he got caught for doing weed and I don't know, all kind of madness, hippie days, all kind of mad, you know, them swinging kind of 60s. So the man had a history, but he was Jesus, yeah? I was like, okay, I get it. But anyway, so he did pass on, yeah? And I was like, oh, God, these people are going to be so free. They're going to enjoy life. They didn't believe in having sex. They didn't believe in eating meat. And I was like, oh, they're going to get to taste meat, steak dinners. They're going to have children, have their own family. No, none of that happened. Do you know why? None of that happened. This man had even a stronger hold on these folks, yeah? And these were good people. I really liked them. They were like my neighbors. So I mean, they were really helpful and everything else like that. I'm being serious. You know, they were my neighbors. They were good neighborly people. I didn't have a problem with them, right? And so yeah, he had a greater hold. Minister Beth Jesus, thanks for watching, yeah? He had a greater hold once he passed away. And so I was talking to these people, my neighbors, yeah? He became a martyr, right? Charles, you're making me laugh, right? So he had a deeper hold on their mind, on their psyche, yeah? Because as the woman explained to me, oh, he's gone on into heaven, but he's still in my heart. He still talks to me and he tells me what to do. I was so dumbfounded. I was like, oh my God. Here we go again, right? Here we go again, right? And they were still in the same amount of bondage. The man wasn't even there, right? So it's kind of sad still that people can't live their life, that they had to be told what to do. But it's years, isn't it? I mean, like, it's years of control. It's years of, yes, mind control. It's just years of brainwashing, and it's a program, and they can't get out of it. Let me tell you something, yeah, how I got out of my one. And I know I keep digressing from my things, but I'm just going to flow, yeah? I take no credit. I take like zero credit. I take no credit for coming out. I take no credit. I didn't come out. The Lord delivered me. That's what I tell myself. The Lord delivered me. I did not get myself out of that situation. I didn't. I can't. I'm not even gonna say it's me, because it's not true, right? God delivered me, right? And one thing I kept on saying in my heart is, Lord, when you start seeing some things, I'm just encouraging you, say a prayer. This prayer is a very powerful prayer, yeah? This is my prayer. Lord, do not let me be deceived. That's what it was. Lord, do not let me be deceived. And I kept that as my prayer. And as I kept on watching and seeing what's happening, I said, Lord, open my eyes. Do not let me. The reason why I say it's a powerful prayer is because I actually wanted to know the truth. Some people don't want to know the truth. They don't want to know the truth, right? So that's why I say it's a powerful prayer. When you actually ask Holy Spirit, hold my hand and reveal the truth. Not everyone wants to hear the truth, yeah? Sometimes you want it, because I say that because there's mad times he sent enough people to me to reveal the truth, and I shut it down. Why? Because the program was there. The program was locked in. The program was it was nowhere near obsolete. It was in full effect. Yeah, it was in full effect and could not be deleted until I said, do not let me be deceived. The moment I started praying that prayer, things started to open up. My mind was open to receive new revelation, understanding, and I got it. And God made a way, and I got out. So I take no credit, right? I just say God delivered me because he gave me a series of hardcore dreams. He gave me a series of words. And it was just a series of stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Was in the space of like 4 months of saying that prayer. That's when I was open. Holy Spirit says she open now. I've had people tell me to my face and can't even hear it. But I'm not going to say it was a bad thing. I'm going to say it was on purpose, intentional for me. For me, it was intentional. And I'm digressing from my points and I might get there tomorrow. But I want to just let you know. The reason why I'm on here is because I told you I was out in the wilderness, wasn't receiving church folk, wasn't receiving God, when you go through experience like this, right? Thank you for Most High for obedience. Yeah, when you go through something like this, you don't even want to deal with people. Last year, one of my apostles spoke to me and said, "Listen, woman of God, prophetess." I said, "Don't call me that." I told her straight out, "Do not call me that." I told her my life is so far from that. It was offensive to me, right? I was like, "Don't call me that," yeah? Because I'm not about that life. Okay, a series of things started happening. But May of last year, I went to a conference, right? It was Apostle Jen Eckhart. It was Activate USA. I went to that conference and they did the blind exercise. You know the blind exercise where you turn around and you get people lined up behind you and you prophesy. So a man prophesied and he didn't see my face. Yeah, so I stand up behind him, and he began to speak about this situation. And the word was, yeah, God said that you had to go through some so-and-so situations, yeah. But God said, stop talking about why is this going on, yeah? I told you before, yeah, I used to come from a spirit of ranting and judgment. I don't do that no more, yeah? Because it's not in me to do that. It's more of an education. And this is where it stems from. It stems from this word. And what he said is, God said, stop asking why. And he said, but God said, I don't hear you asking what was the lesson. So therefore, I realized I was in school. This was all school. It was a Holy Ghost class. It was a lesson. It was a module. It was a session for me. And I got it twisted. I internalized the pain and I didn't understand. I was supposed to learn something from it. Yeah. Okay. And so what he said was specifically, he said, because God said what you went through, even though it was hurt, betrayal, and bitterness and all the rest of it, he said all that. And even though you feel it wasn't justified, but God said this, it was a demonstration to the priest, the young priest. So I knew that to be the young generation, the young peoples, right? God said it was a demonstration. So in other words, I'm not qualified to even talk in this matter unless I've actually experienced it. And my life is as a demonstration, yeah? Just like Hosea, he had to marry a prostitute. And it was a direct correlation to the children of Israel, the sister Samaria, and was it Ephraim? Jerusalem. It was a direct correlation. I can't speak on this matter unless I have a direct correlation of some skin in the game. I had to have an investment. My life had to be invested in this process. Like I said, I was on both sides. And that's how God had it. I was a victim, but also I had to reinforce. Somebody had to reinforce the law. I had to reinforce the madness. I had to reinforce the control, right? So a lot of people didn't even see the leadership. Sometimes they just thought it was me, right? And so when I come out of that madness, the first thing I had to do is repent. I had to call up a whole heap of people. I got people on this call right now, on this line that can verify. I had to call up a whole bunch of people and repent and say, listen, that's not my life. I took on that personality type. That's not my personality. If you know me as a real person, you know that's not who I am. And I beg you, we can still be friends. Yeah? Because that person was not me. Right? So I'm just letting you know that, that's why I'm on here, is because God has commissioned me to talk it. And if I don't talk it, then why am I living? Because really, I had to go to school so this situation can come out for real. But it's just the way it has to come out, isn't it? It just has to come out balanced, yeah? And like I said, I would love to have talked about it. You know how many times I've been in the church? My husband will tell you, I'll be in the church and it's almost like I got tape over my mouth, duct tape, because I'd want to be in there. This is after I've come out. The madness I see in the church, I would want to come out and start railing up in front of everybody, yeah? I would want to do that, yeah? Holy Ghost wouldn't let me speak because it wasn't time. And plus, I would have been out of order. And plus, my testimony won't even be clean. Like right now, I can tell you that I've been on my best behavior, yeah? But my flesh wasn't trying to be honest. My flesh was really trying to go out there because obviously, I wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. But the way I was going about it was more like a vigilante. Yeah. And being a vigilante don't help. It don't help nobody. Yeah. So it's better to come in a way that people can understand, come in a spirit that people can actually grasp something. They can be educated. They can be inspired. They can be aware. Okay. And I'm not about making people paranoid about not going into a church. What I'm doing is like this. Just how like you got your children. Prophet don't like when things are out of order. That's true. That's true. That is part of the core now. So just like you got a child, yeah, and you take your child out, you warn your children about strangers, isn't it? You warn them about strangers, right? But at the same time, right, you want your children to be polite to a stranger. Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. It's awareness. As you go out into the world, as you go out into Christendom, there's going to be people that's not necessarily real. They're fake still, right? Right? Jesus gave the warning. He said, I'm about to send you out. But jeez, some of these people are about to flog you. Some of these people in the church, they're about to parade themselves as one that's light. Ministers are light, but they're really ministers of Satan. So the warnings was there, right? It's not like this is new. This ain't nothing new. This been happening from time. Yeah, it's all up in the scriptures, all up in Jeremiah. It's all up in the New Testament. This has been happening from time, right? Look at Eli and his sons, yeah? This has been happening from time, yeah? I'm not trying to scare anyone or trying to put a whole heap of emphasis like the church ain't doing no good things. No, the church is doing some good things, right? Like I said, the church helped me, right? But it's just that there's some people out there that just needs to be validated and just need to feel a little comfort to know that they're not wrong and that there's some homework that they can do. There's some homework that you can do, yeah? Because we can't leave, because of man, we can't say, you know what, God, I'm turning my back. No, because guess what? You have an assignment. You still have an assignment. Like I still had an assignment. I abandoned my assignment because of the hurt and the pain, because I didn't understand and because I internalized it. And it takes people to hold me accountable, say, no, you're still a woman of God. You're still a woman of God. You know what? I've even got somebody out here on these streets right now, watching me right now, that gave me a word in November. I was in my hoodies and my jeans and my locks, just doing my thing, right? In November was like, God said you got too much, he's invested in you. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, me? Like, really? Like, what's going on? Like, just called me, snatched me up and said, it's time, putting you back on them gospel streets, yeah? So here I am. It is a fine line. It's a fine line. It's a fine line of walking in witchcraft, isn't it? And moving in the prophetic. It's a fine line. It's very hard. But the Bible says, stop being children, being tossed to and fro, isn't it? By every wind of what? Doctrine. Every wind of what? Doctrine. The wind blows and someone's got a revelation there. Another wind comes and there's another revelation there. But we got to we got to discern what about that revelation. Let me check out that revelation, yeah? And read and study the Bible. Like I always tell you, I don't read the Bible enough. That's what I tell myself, because I always get fooled. I always get tripped up. Yeah? I'm telling you, it always happens. And so even though you're watching me, yeah, I might say scripture out of balance. And I might say, I might misconstrue the message. But guess what? It's the same thing. You'll be fooled unless you really know and study that word. So when you see stuff like that, just take it as an encouragement and that's why you hear me say I don't study the Bible enough. And so I take it as a encouragement for me, as a word for myself to say, don't blame them, blame yourself, take responsibility and say, you need to study hard enough. You need to, thanks Frida for coming up in the room. You need to study just as hard as the next man. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I mean when I actually say that saying. It's a reminder to myself, don't depend on leaders to grow you. Don't depend wholeheartedly on people to feed you with the word. Don't depend on them, because if for whatever's in their heart, whatever's going in their life, if they miss it, then I miss it. If they miss it, I miss it. And let me tell you something. I already told you about a little bit of my history about being in second command and the thing. One of my friends told me, I had a dream that you was walking straight to hell. Right? That's pretty serious. That's pretty serious. You hear what I'm saying? That's pretty serious. I was like, what? In fact, she's like, me and you. I saw me and you walking up into hell, following somebody, following the leader, following the man and woman of God. That's where we was going, into hell. Okay, do you think it made a difference? No, it didn't make a difference. We're still following anyway. Okay, thanks Erica for coming in the room. That didn't make a slight bit of difference. That's why I say it's so strategic. It's so systematic. Yeah. That's why I say Holy Ghost been trying to tell me, and I couldn't move. That's why I say I couldn't deliver myself, but the Lord did it. That's why I say pray that prayer. Thanks Roxanne for coming in. That's why I say pray that prayer. Lord, do not let me be deceived. Do not. Once you come in contact with one cult, it's bound to happen. Even if it's on your job or whatever. You know what's amazing to me? The people that I knew that was in a cult and an abusive church. Thanks Roxanne for the hearts. I appreciate you. When I talked to them, right, I found that they had already been in a cult already. I mean, truly, I found that they had already been in a cult already. And they fell in another one again. So that's why I say that prayer is very important, because it will help, it will keep you. Holy Ghost will keep you from stepping in them places, right? That's how important it is. All right, so let me get back on track now, because I did move away from, I did up to 5, right? So I'm just going to do a quick recap and a reset. So my name is Myles-Jenkins. So I'm a spirit-led Christian life coach, right? And so I'm walking on this topic right now, talking on this topic right now. Characteristics, 10 characteristics that you should know, that you should be aware of, okay? These are very important that you should be aware of when you see an abusive church group. Why? Because it's part of your discernment. Discernment, right? It's not just like spiritual discernment, like, ooh, spooky, feely in the spirit realm. No, discernment means 2 things. Wisdom and knowledge. Well, I could say 3 things, and understanding, yeah? That's how you build up your discernment. Another way is getting in the word, the pure milk, right? Taking pure milk from the word, getting to understand the milk and the meat. Once you understand that, right, that tells you what's right from wrong. If you don't have it and you depend on a leader to tell you right from wrong, now let me tell you something. If they're in sin, are they always going to tell you what's wrong? No, because they don't want to be found out. Thanks, Liz, for coming in the room. So they're not always going to tell you what's wrong. So that's why you got to teach yourself. Right? And I'm not saying back away from the church that I don't believe that, right? Because I myself, I'm under spiritual authority, right? I've got a pastor and I've got several apostles that's over me, that I get counsel, that they know what I'm doing right now. They know about the book I'm writing right now. They know the experience I've been through. They see me walk it out, right? And so they know. So I hold myself accountable to leadership, yeah? I put myself in a place of being accountable to leadership for what I'm doing. Why? Because I still believe in it. I still believe in it, because the Bible says there's safety. There's safety in the multitudes of counsel. So I believe that word to be true. Yeah. It's just when you're in the counsel of the ungodly, that's when it's, tricky, muddy waters. Okay. So yeah. All right. Okay. So quick recap. So the first one was that the pastor's controlling, and he uses intimidation, manipulation. He seduces you with lies, puts a guilt trip on you, talks about judgments coming, puts a lot of fear in you. That's how he's able to control you, right? And I say he, right? But you know, we're talking about male or female, right? Okay. And then the second thing is, the church pastor has to be placed on a pedestal, right? He has to have that position. Once he has that position and is erected, the whole church is going to get around him and make sure he's propped up and make sure that he's set in place, because they're sheep. They need a follower. Well, I mean, they need a leader, right? They're followers. They need a leader. And it's a good thing. But what we're talking about is when the leader is more important than God, right? And they challenge the place of God in your heart. We're talking about idolatry, spiritual idolatry. Okay. All right. So the third thing is exclusivity. When it's an exclusive church, when they compete against the mainstream, and we're like undercover, we're like, the underground church. Yeah. or we're like the highest church. Some kind of madness, some kind of foolishness, yeah? But it's always about being exclusive. It's always about having the best revelation. No church got the revelation like our church has. That kind of deal, yeah? No, you know, it's one body, one body of Christ, different parts, but we will come together to be complete and to be whole. That's healthiness and that's wholeness, right? Okay, that is the desire of the Father, yeah? Okay. All right, so the fourth thing is that the members are under scrutiny and they have to follow the leader's routine. So they're placed under a high expectation of behavior, yeah? And then sometimes the leader ain't even following that, but they make you do it, yeah? Right? And so sometimes you'll see that they'll be telling you that, oh, you can't, I don't know, like you can't go on holiday, but yet they want a free holidays, okay? So I don't know, but you can figure it out. Then the fifth one is rules and legalism. Rules and legalism, yeah? So there's a lot of rules. You can't do this and you can't do that. Can't do this and you can't do that. It's always spiritual, right? Okay, like for example, I'm going to give you one. Some of it's superstitious, yeah? Some of it's superstition, yeah? Or like the numbers of God represent something, yeah? 1 represents unity, 2 represents war, 3 represents the Trinity, 4 represents control, completion, 5 grace. Okay, so wherever you're in the store, you know, you have a fear of going to number 6 because number 6 means flesh or Adam, flesh. And you don't want to deal with that number. So a lot of spiritualism can move in witchcraft and also can move in, what did I just say? It can move in witchcraft and oh God, I forgot that word. Superstition. Okay. All right. And then the 6th one, which we haven't got to, is anybody opposed? Oh my God. If you're brave to oppose, if you're ever brave to oppose, if the spirit of Jehu's on you, right? And you're coming to fight with the spirit of Jezebel, yeah? Or the spirit of Elijah's on you, yeah? And you're about to bring exposure, yeah? The first thing they're going to do is excommunicate you, get you out of the camp. That's the first thing they can do. You probably won't even get a word out edgeways. You know why? Because they fear you and they know if you get to speak, the whole clan might get a bright idea, and they don't want nobody to have a bright idea about leaving or seeing the truth or, you know, walking in the light. They don't want that. So what they'll do is excommunicate you real quick. And so what that does is, and they do it in public. And the reason why they do it in public is to make sure that anyone watching in their camp doesn't get no bright idea. And then make sure the scolding so hard and deep that it puts fear in the hearts of man. It puts fear in the heart of man, that the heart of man's like, oh, heck no, hell no, I ain't doing that. It ain't even that deep. Why didn't they just go along with it? Because that's what I used to say. I was like, stupid, why didn't you just go with the program? That's what I used to be like, stupid, like, do that. Now you're out. Now, little did I realize I was really just killing myself, right? Yeah, because you got to be true and authentic to your belief systems, and you got to be able to stand up for them sometimes. But that kind of schooling teaches people not to stand up for themselves, and it teaches them not to stand up for their opinions. You keep getting kicked out, isn't it, Charles? I'm sorry, but yeah, you might have to catch the replay. All right, so you know what? I don't know how long I've gone on for, but I can go on forever. Church, shaking my head. It's sad, but it's true. I can go on forever. I still ain't even got through my list. So you know what? Like I said, this is like, hey, Lauren, thanks for coming in. So like I said, I mean, when I broke this teaching down, I was like, my goodness, this is like a whole month scope. This is like a whole month. This is going to take me like a whole month to get through. Hey, Astrid, thanks for coming in. Well done for exposing this. Thank you, Charles. Yeah. Oh, Astrid, we're about to wrap up. I don't know how long I've been on here before, but my challenge is to be on the scope for about half an hour. And this subject right here, just doing the 10. I didn't even get through to 10. Got through to 6. So I hope you're able to catch it on the replay, yeah? Thanks for coming in and hearting me up in Periscope. Appreciate you. All right, so listen. If you know anyone that's gone through it, just pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for them. That in their heart, they will begin to pray that same prayer, yeah? Lord, do not let me be deceived, right? And if you got children and young people, That's one of the that's one of the things they're trying to recruit is your young kids. Yeah. Oh my God. Let me tell you about my 18-year-old. Let me tell you about my 18-year-old son. Okay, that grew up in church, yeah? Right? That knows the Lord, yeah? That can pick a word from the Lord. Let me tell you about my 18-year-old son, right? This is how you got to be careful. Talking about, mom, I want to show you something. It's on YouTube, yeah? I'm like, okay, show it to me on YouTube. I didn't know what it was about. I was like, okay, I thought he wanted me to buy something from him. Anyway, we go on YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the name so that you guys can go on there because it's hilarious. Hey, Kim, thanks for watching. Yeah, Kim, I'm talking about your brother, your junior brother, yeah? When it was some teaching about how he came into being. I'm like, Shanti, Genesis, remember Genesis? Okay, Adam and Eve, there was God, there was the 7 days, God rested on the 7th day. We've been through this 100 times. You know the word, right? I know he knows the teaching, yeah? But this is how influential people come alongside your children, yeah? And at that age, they're impressionable. And I don't know how the faith of what we've given him got pushed to the side, right? I can't even get it because it's just ludicrous to me. Yeah. Talking about, I gotta find it. Some kind of Yaku or Yabu, some kind of name. It was like that. I'm not being funny, but it was like that. It was like a Yaku or something. Yeah. This theory of how people came into being. And it was a story of the world, right? The earth. And there was these beings inside the earth. And they were like aliens. And they were Nubians. But they were like aliens, right? And so it was kind of like a Zeus kind of Greek mythology story. But it was in a cartoon form. And I had to watch it. It was like 45 minutes long. Every time I was like, cha. He was like, no, mom, you got to read it. So you know what is Nubians? He was like, no, mom, you got to watch. I was like, are you serious? You're really begging me to watch it. He's like, no, you can't say that. You got to watch it to the end, mom. So anyway, it was about these aliens in the pit of the earth, right? One got flung out. So they came to the earth, slept with a being on the earth. It was a light-skinned woman and a dark-skinned man, right? And because he slept with a being, just like mermaids, because he slept with a being, he couldn't go back under the earth no more. So he had to rest on top. And there was something about betrayal. I don't know if it was his brother who was trying to sleep with the girl or what. Something. There was a betrayal. And so because of the betrayal, he had a bad heart. There was evil in his heart and he became evil. Right? And then he had a desire to have a light-skinned baby. So he slept with all the women and he made sure he picked all the light-skinned women so that the child would just keep getting fairer and fairer and fairer. Greek mythology, yeah? The fairer and fairer. So it got to the place where he slept with a whole bunch of women and that's how he got a white child. Okay? And so that's how white people came into being. Okay? So that's that story. Okay? I was like, okay, that or Adam and Eve. Not quite I'm like, okay, he's not quite sure. Like, I don't know. Did I do something wrong? I was like, okay, I don't know. Anyway, so that's another story, yeah? How children are growing up in a cult and how it actually affects their psyche too, yeah? I consider him to be stable, but I just realized maybe he's not that stable and we need to work that one out some. So that's my prayer is being generated in that, and I'm channeling it right now, and yeah. So anyway, I think I've rambled enough. I've said enough. And so I'm going to come back on. I've got to finish these 10 because I didn't finish these 10 yet. Right? So hopefully you don't get bored with these scopes because it's part of my challenge. So I got to go through with it either way. Right? And I'm hoping a lot of people getting value. Like I said, I'm hoping people getting keys and understanding. The church has failed them and they're looking for other options. Yeah. I know it's sad, isn't it? It's sad. And so that's why it's important for me to say this message, because some of these things can get cleaned up. Let it get cleaned up so that it doesn't fester and poison. You know how I used to talk a couple of years ago, Astrid. I don't feel them ways no more. But there's a lot of casualties out there, like you said, and it's about bringing back the casualties and getting them healed and bringing them to a safe place so that they can receive spiritual covering and leadership, because I'm a woman under leadership. I'm a woman under spiritual covering. And I wouldn't even trade it. I was looking for it. I wouldn't even trade it. So regardless of my experience, I'm like, oh no, God has a government and he has a way of doing things, and I'm in agreement and I flow with it. Right. So even what I'm doing now, I make sure people know what I'm doing, and I've submitted it. And so what? And so guess what? I get the covering for it, right? There's grace for me to do it, and it's done in decency and order. I believe in that. Right? So I just want to encourage you. And I shall be on here tomorrow and the next day until this is all rinsed out. Okay? So if I've said anything that resonates with you, all right? Like I told you, I'm a life coach. And so Dominion Coaching is my new Facebook page. And so that's where I'll be hanging out in that hub right there. But in the meanwhile, come check me out on these scopes and check me out on these Facebook lives for the duration of the month. Not quite sure what the next series will be. But come join me and hang out with me. I appreciate you and I love you all. I appreciate your time. You could be doing anything right now, so I really appreciate your time and your support. All right. So God bless you. Take care. And I do my morning powwow crew. You know I'll be there 8 o'clock in the morning. Do the morning powwows for about 5-10 minutes, and to set us off for our day. So we'll be there. Thank you, Astrid, for your support. All right. Take care. Bye.